Maybe there's something I never thought I needed to tell you. Pernell Roberts was the guy who played Adam Cartwright on the old show Bonanza. On screen, he looked like the perfect gentleman, calm, cool, and super charming. But deep down, he was a guy who really believed in stuff. He always said exactly what he thought, even if it got him in trouble. Most movie stars back then just smiled and stayed quiet if they were mad at someone. They didn't want to lose friends or jobs. Pernell was different. He cared more about being honest than being popular. He was okay losing friends, movie parts, and respect if it meant he could speak the truth. At big Hollywood parties, he let everyone know there were some people he just couldn't stand. He didn't like actors who acted big-headed, fake, or dishonest. Those things went against everything he believed in. Today we're going to talk about the 5 names that were at the top of his secret hate list, plus the crazy stories about why he was mad at each one. After you hear this, you'll never look at these stars the same way. But first, if you like Pernell Roberts or old Western shows, hit that subscribe button because the real stories from old Hollywood are way wilder than the TV shows. Pernell Elvin Roberts Jr. was born on May 18, 1928, in a little town called Waycross, Georgia. It was a quiet place in the Deep South, and life was really hard there during the Great Depression. He was the only kid of Pernell Roberts Sr., who sold Dr. Pepper for a living, and Minnie Myrtle Morgan Roberts, a sweet mom who encouraged him to be creative. Even when he was little, Pernell was different from other boys. He didn't get into trouble or play sports much. He loved music and performing instead. He played the horn in the school band and sang or acted at church, but he never planned to become an actor at first. After high school, he went to Georgia, a tech to study engineering and get a real job. Pretty soon he figured out that drawing plans and doing math wasn't for him. In 1946, he joined the Marines and served for 2 years. While he was in the military, he still played music. He played tuba and horn in the Marine band. It kept him happy even when everything else was strict. When he got out, Pernell took a big chance. He started college at the University of Maryland and got super into school plays. Acting felt like the thing he was born to do. Soon he dropped out of college to chase acting for real. That risky choice turned him into one of TV's most unforgettable stars. In the early 1950s, Pernell packed his bags and moved to New York City. Only talent and hard work mattered there. He went to the famous American Academy of Dramatic Arts to get better at acting. At the same time, he worked all kinds of random jobs just to pay bills. It was tough, but Pernell never gave up. His hard work paid off in 1952 when he got his first real stage part in a play called The Man Who Came to Dinner. It was a small role, but it was the start of an amazing career that was sometimes pretty rebellious. His career wasn't about being famous. It was about doing things his own way. After that first win, he jumped all the way into theater. His strong voice, cool stage presence, and total effort made him stand out fast. Soon he was acting in some of the best plays ever, like Macbeth, The Taming of the Shrew, and Romeo and Juliet. People at the New York Shakespeare Festival thought he was a serious, deep actor who could make the whole room quiet. By the late 1950s, Hollywood started noticing him. In 1958, he was in his first movie, Desire Under the Elms, acting next to Sophia Loren and Burl Ives. He showed he could hang with the biggest stars. That same year, he was in a Western called The Sheep Man, which was a hint of what was coming. Next year, he started doing popular TV shows like The Virginian and Gunsmoke. His name was getting known everywhere. Then 1959 came, the year everything blew up. Pernell got the part of Adam Cartwright, the smart, steady oldest son on the new NBC show Bonanza. The show became one of the biggest hits on TV, and overnight Pernell was super famous. Every week, millions of people watched the Cartwright family on their huge ranch called the Ponderosa. Pernell's quiet strength and smart vibe really stuck with people. But even with all the fame, he felt something was off. Deep down, the character didn't feel like the real him. Pernell was never the guy to stay quiet when something bothered him. On Bonanza, that made some people respect him and some people scared of him. He kept arguing with the bosses because he thought the writing was too simple and his character wasn't deep enough. The show was super popular, but to him it didn't say anything important or feel like real art. So in 1965, after 6 hit seasons and when he was more famous than ever, he did something that shocked everybody. He quit. A lot of people thought his career was over. But Pernell wasn't scared to start over. He went back to theater and did guest spots on TV shows. He wanted to build his career the way he wanted. It worked. By the late 1970s, he got the main role on Trapper John, MD. Critics loved it, and a whole new group of fans loved him. But under that calm face, he still had strong feelings about some people he worked with. And now we get to the part almost nobody knows. The 5 actors Pernell Roberts really couldn't stand, and the surprising reasons why. After this, you'll never see these stars the same. Number 1. Michael Landon. At first, Pernell and the youngest Bonanza star got along okay, even friendly. But as Michael got more ambitious, things got tense. Michael was super charming and fans loved him. He was becoming the favorite. Behind the cameras, though, Pernell thought he was sneaky, selfish, and wanted to control everything. When Michael started writing and directing episodes, he changed scenes so his character Little Joe looked better, even if it made the others look worse. That made Pernell really mad. People who worked there say Pernell once told Michael straight to his face, "You're not trying to make the show better, you're just trying to make yourself look bigger." After that, they hardly talked unless they had to for a scene. Pernell hated how Michael acted perfect, but thought he was fake deep in real life. When Pernell finally quit Bonanza, Michael didn't say a single thing about it. That was the last straw. Years later, when Michael got famous again on Little House on the Prairie, Pernell made a mean joke. He said, "It's the same old thing. He's still playing cowboy, still playing the saint." That comment showed how mad he still was. Number 2, Dan Blocker. Pernell's problem with Dan, the guy who played Big Sweet Hoss Cartwright, wasn't really anger, it was disappointment. At the beginning of Bonanza, they were close. Both were trained actors who wanted their characters to feel real. But when Pernell started fighting with the bosses more, Dan started staying away. That hurt Pernell's feelings. He thought Dan should have backed him up, especially when he complained about bad writing and how the show treated Native American characters. Instead, Dan tried to keep the peace and not make waves. To Pernell, that looked weak. Once he told a reporter, "Dan had the heart but not the spine. He picked being comfy over doing what's right." Things got really bad one day when Pernell walked off the set because he hated the script. Dan just kept filming. Later, Pernell told him quietly, "You had a choice. You always had a choice." After that, their friendship fell apart slow. Dan never trash-talked Pernell in public, but he never stood up for him either. That silence hurt the worst. Number 3, Chuck Connors. This fig. HT didn't start on Bonanza, but it was just as bad. Chuck was the star of The Rifleman. They met at a big party for Western TV stars. Chuck was tall, confident, and fans loved him, but backstage he was rude to the crew and acted like everyone else was below him. Pernell hated people who weren't respectful and humble, so that night really bothered him. People there saw Chuck yell at a young helper for a tiny mistake. When Pernell and Chuck finally talked backstage, it turned into a big argument fast. Pernell called Chuck fake and said he cared more about being famous than being decent. Chuck shot back and called Pernell a bitter quitter who couldn't handle being successful. They never became friends after that. From then on, Pernell called Chuck all hat, no soul in private. A guy who looked cool but was empty inside. To Pernell, Chuck was everything wrong with Hollywood. Nice on camera, mean off it. Number 4, Lorne Greene. Out of all the fights, none hurt Pernell more than the one with the man who played his TV dad, Ben Cartwright. To fans, they looked like they had a great father-son thing, but backstage it was cold. Pernell said it felt like Lorne was always trying to control everything, both on set and off. Pernell hated how Lorne was totally fine with the show's simple stories, happy endings, and no real-life issues. Pernell wanted the show to talk about harder, real stuff. Lorne stuck with what the bosses wanted and kept things safe. Pernell didn't see that as being professional. He saw it as giving up. He told a friend, he picked comfort over courage. What started as arguments about the show got personal. Pernell felt Lorne saw him as a troublemaker, a younger guy who wasn't scared to argue about scripts. The set got colder every year. Pernell hated how everyone followed Lorne like he was the boss of everything. By 1965, he was done. He quit Bonanza and gave up one of the biggest paychecks on TV because he wanted to do things right. When people asked why he left, he said, "I just couldn't. I'd spend my whole life taking my hat off and saying, 'Yes, Pa.'" To the world, Lorne Greene was the perfect TV dad, wise and kind. But to Pernell, he was the symbol of Hollywood being scared to take chances. Where fans saw warmth, Pernell saw someone too happy to play it safe. Number 5. James Drury. James was the serious star of The Virginian. Their fight wasn't about acting, it was about what they believed. Pernell was always loud about stuff he cared about, like fighting racism, ending the Vietnam War, and how Hollywood shut up people with different opinions. James was a proud conservative who thought shows should stay out of politics. They really clashed in the 1970s on a TV panel talking about the future of television. Pernell got mad and said networks were scared to show real problems and just made westerns that were easy comfort food. James pushed back and said, "People don't want lectures, they want to escape." It got super personal. When the show ended, they wouldn't even shake hands. Later, Pernell told a friend, "Drury wasn't just an actor, he spoke for keeping everything the same." What made Pernell the angriest was that James stayed quiet during the civil rights fights when he could have helped. To Pernell, staying quiet when bad stuff is happening isn't being neutral, it's helping the bad side. Through everything, Pernell Roberts never changed for anybody. He was super strong about what he believed and was ready to lose comfort to tell the truth. Hollywood saw him as loud and tough, but his private life was full of sadness, loneliness, and quiet fights. He expected himself to be just as honest as he expected everyone else to be. Pernell's personal life was messy like his career was brave. He got married 4 times and every marriage had big problems. His first wife was Vera, a college teacher. They got married in 1951 and had a son named Jonathan Christoph, her Roberts. Pernell loved his son a ton, but being busy and always wanting to move made family life hard. By 1959, they got divorced. He still saw his son, but they weren't super close emotionally. His next 2 wives were Judith Anna Lebrecht and then Kara Nack. Those marriages ended in divorce too. Friends said Pernell needed a lot of freedom and found it hard to let people get really close. He kept his feelings super private and accidentally pushed away the people who loved him. The worst thing happened in 1989 when his only son Jonathan died in a motorcycle crash at just 38 years old. It broke Pernell. Friends said he never got over it and he hardly ever talked about it, but the pain stayed forever. In his later years, he finally found some happiness with his 4th wife, Eleanor Criswell. They got married in 1997 and stayed together until he died. She gave him company and calm, but the pain from lost loves, broken marriages, and losing his son never went away completely. Pernell Roberts lived exactly how he wanted, brave, loud, and never giving in. But that freedom cost him a lot personally. Behind the strong guy everyone saw was someone carrying years of quiet sadness. Off camera, his life was full of love, huge losses, and struggles most people never saw. In his last years, he stayed far away from Hollywood lights. He wanted peace and privacy more than fame. After quitting Bonanza when it was at the top, he kept acting in TV and theater, but only stuff he believed in. In the 1980s, he got famous again playing Trapper John MD, and a new generation loved him for his strong acting. Even when he wasn't super famous anymore, he never compromised. He was private, didn't do fan events, and almost never did interviews. He spent time on music, fighting for justice, and being with close people. Behind his calm look, he was fighting cancer quietly. On January 24, 2010, Pernell Roberts died at his home in Malibu. He was 81 and it was pancreatic cancer. He faced it with bravery and quiet strength. His death ended an era. He was the last original Bonanza cast member alive. He never played Hollywood games or chased fame, but he changed TV and acting a lot. He was one of the first to quit a huge hit show because it didn't match what he believed was right. Way before it was cool, he spoke up about race and social problems and wanted real, honest roles for everyone. Fans remember him not just as the cool, quiet Adam Cartwright, but as a guy with real beliefs and guts. His legacy is the characters he played plus all the brave choices he made and the lessons he left. like sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. Pernell Roberts is gone, but his strong voice, both on TV and in real life, still matters to people who loved his talent and respected how he never gave up his principles. When he died, he left around $10 million. For most actors, that would feel like winning everything, fame and money after years of work. But to Pernell, none of that stuff really mattered. Money never excited him. Fame never made him happy. Even when Bonanza was huge and he made almost $10,000 an episode, one of the best-paid actors in the 60s, he still felt restless inside. He wanted something deeper. While fans loved his perfect acting and TV glamour, he hated how Hollywood turned real feelings into just products to sell. He didn't want to be a celebrity. He wanted to live with real purpose. For a while, he played the game. He wore the cowboy hat, said his lines, took the applause, but his heart never let him settle. His beliefs were way bigger than any script. While people loved watching Adam Cartwright, Pernell was actually marching in Selma, Alabama with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., not as a star, just as a regular guy fighting racism. That was real, not acting. On set, he kept asking why there were no people of color working behind the camera, why white actors played Native Americans, and why change was so slow. Most people ignored him, but he never stopped talking. His family and friends said some people supported him, but never enough to quiet his fire. Pernell could have stayed on the show, made tons of money, lived fancy, and just enjoyed being famous. But he picked being real over being cheered. He walked away, not because he was proud, but because he needed truth and meaning more than anything.